Hi, I'm Dr. Justine Kluk and I'm a consultant dermatologist. I'm really excited to be here with Medik8 today to talk to you about sun awareness. So why do we need to protect our skin in the sun? Well, UV rays or ultraviolet radiation from the sun causes sunburn, causes skin cancer. It also triggers or aggravates various pigmentary disorders of the skin like post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, for example after acne or melasma, and it can also cause other skin conditions to flare up, for example rosacea. What's really amazing is that 80% of facial aging can be attributed to sun exposure, which is absolutely massive. So what does that mean for us? Well, over time from sun exposure, dark spots will appear on the skin. The skin will appear more wrinkled. It might be more saggy. Blood vessels on the skin might appear more prominent. And these are signs of what we call photoaging, aging of the skin due to sun exposure. Well, the obvious answer is to wear sunscreen. That's part of it. We should also cover up and wear hats and sunglasses. But there are a few things to bear in mind when you're choosing your sunscreen to help reduce your risks. So the first thing is to choose a broad spectrum sunscreen. When I say broad spectrum, I mean a product that protects you from UVA rays and UVB rays. Simply speaking, UVA rays are the major contributor to aging, A for aging, and UVB for burning, B for burning. So a broad spectrum product, you want a product that's at least an SPF 30 or a 50. It needs to be applied every day before you leave the house, or also if you're sitting by a window for prolonged periods. And I would suggest applying half a teaspoon to face, neck and ears about 15 minutes before you head outdoors. You then need to top up the sunscreen every couple of hours or sooner if you're swimming or sweating or toweling off. Do also remember to protect the rest of your skin as well, so it's not just your face and neck that are likely to succumb to the effects of the sun. Broadly speaking, we divide sunscreens into chemical sunscreens or physical, sometimes also known as mineral sunscreens, based on the filters they contain to protect our skin against UV rays. So there are physical sunscreens, which contain what are known as inorganic filters, examples of which include titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. And then there are the chemical sunscreens, which contain organic filters, examples of which include avobenzone, but there are many, many. What's really interesting is although there are some products that contain only chemical filters and there are others that contain only physical filters, many sunscreen products these days actually contain a combination of the two. There are some key differences between physical or mineral sunscreens and chemical sunscreens, so I thought I'd just go through these with you. The first is really the degree to which they reflect UV rays off the surface of the skin. It's often simply said that physical sunscreens reflect UV rays off the surface of the skin, a bit like a shield, and that chemical sunscreens absorb UV rays and convert them to heat. What we now understand to be true, though, is that physical sunscreens do also, to a degree, absorb UV rays and convert them to heat. So it's not just one or the other. Other key differences include the ability to leave a white cast and also variations in texture. So traditional physical sunscreens were very thick and white and pasty and more likely to leave a white cast on the skin. And they also tend to be heavier and thicker and greasier and more difficult to spread. This is not always the case nowadays because formulation has come on a really long way. But sometimes you will still find physical or mineral sunscreens that leave a white cast or are thick and heavy to spread. And the final difference to me is around sensitivity. So there are some patients who I see in the clinic who have very sensitive skin, and these are often people who have skin conditions, for example, like eczema or rosacea, and they might find that their skin gets more irritated by chemical filters, or very occasionally that they have an allergy to a chemical filter. And in those circumstances, it may be preferable to use a mineral sunscreen or a physical sunscreen rather than a chemical sunscreen. Now, as a dermatologist, I think I've heard all the myths I could possibly have about sunscreen, and I'm going to talk to you about a few that come up really commonly. Yes, definitely. You shouldn't rely on the SPF in your makeup for protection. 2 reasons. The SPF in makeup is often not high enough, but more importantly, we tend not to apply enough of it to get adequate protection. You need a really thick, generous, even layer of your sunscreen to get the protection that it says on the side of the bottle or package, and most of us don't apply that much makeup, so I certainly wouldn't rely on the SPF in your makeup. So it's approximately half a teaspoon for face, neck and ears, or sometimes people will say 2 or 3 finger strips worth. And then for your whole body, you need about a shot glass or a golf ball sized blob if you're wearing a swimsuit. Sunscreen doesn't last all day, so it does need to be topped up if you're continuing to expose your skin. And another question I get asked all the time is, are the once daily sunscreens sufficient? And the answer is quite similar to the one I gave about makeup, which is that most of us don't apply our sunscreen in a thick and even enough layer to start off with to get the protection we need. Then secondly, sunscreens will be rubbed during the course of the day by our clothing, we will sweat, we might be exposed to water, and this all affects how well our sunscreen is working. So if we didn't really apply enough sunscreen to start off with in the morning, because most of us don't, and then it gets rubbed or it gets wet or we sweat, then it's wearing off throughout the course of the day, and it certainly won't be providing the same protection at the end of the day as it was at the beginning. So I definitely wouldn't rely on once daily sunscreens. This is really just not true. I specialize in acne, and I can tell you that all of my patients are wearing sunscreen without a problem. So the key things are to look for a lightweight formulation, something that's non-greasy. Look for the words non-comedogenic, for example, on the packaging. This means non-pore blocking, and is a good rule of thumb that the product is less likely to break your skin out. So these are some of the common myths I've encountered about sunscreen. I hope that you found this helpful. Do let me know if you have any questions below, and hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.